Hi, and welcome to Just One Song, Season of Listening. My name is Kurt.
I'm Leo.
I'm Adam. What?
And Adam. We have Leo and Adam. We're going to be reviewing a song today by Jonny Pickett, a song called John Rabe. Leo, you know Jonny Pickett.
I know of him.
You know of him.
I'm just kidding. I know the guy.
Oh, you know him.
I know this wonderful human being. We played back in my younger, more reckless party drinking days. I played drunkenly many a show with old Johnny. A lot of saw him tooting around banjos. We played a Halloween party one time. I think it was 2013 in a backyard, and it divulged into this huge bonfires being lit. I think his banjo might have gotten stolen. Oh no, that was another show. Johnny's great dude, great musician, just an all around upstanding guy, and I'm very happy that he submitted his new work, because this is about 9 years removed from the last time that I probably performed with it. So thank you, Johnny.
Wow. Yeah, I've listened to a lot of his music. He's a very talented musician. I mean, who am I to say that? But very good music so far. And did you guys get a chance to listen to some of his stuff too? Leo, I know you know what he's capable of. What about you, Adam?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I was really surprised to hear a lot of his music being so many different instruments. He's a really, really fantastic pianist. Some of his works where it's just piano is just amazing.
Yeah.
And it just takes you on just this journey of emotion going through it, and it just never gets boring. It's always impactful in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can find the links to his music in the description for this episode. So, yeah, check out Jonny Pickett. We're going to listen to his song. I know we're all kind of excited for this one. It's got lyrical content, so another thing to dive into.
The layer of the onion.
Another layer.
Another dive into the deep pools of the QAnon conspiracy.
Maybe not that far.
You'll never come back once you dive that deep. You are swimming with the sharks, and then you are. The light is shown upon you. I'm just kidding.
How many metaphors are you mixing here?
That's all it is. That is all modern. That's what I hate about the QAnon conspiracy theorist, is that we've had a lot of these conspiracy theories for a long time. Like reptilians, we were fucking with that back in 2005. Remember when Zeitgeist came out? All those 9/11. All the cabal of evil people and the Freemasons and all that shit, and they just kind of amalgamated all of these cool conspiracy theories that we grew up, and they were like, no, it's all ours now. It's like, yeah, that's not how it works. You don't get to claim all of these.
I believed in lizard people before it was cool.
That would be such a great shirt. Listen to Just One Song. I believed in lizard people before it was cool on the back. Reptilians.
All three of us write that song. Can we make that?
I feel like Jonny Pickett would be the right person to compose the music for the anthem of the lizard people.
100%.
Speaking of lizard people, did you know supposedly the government's supposed to disclose all the unidentified flying objects? They don't call them UFOs anymore. They're trying to hoodwink the public. They call them IAPs, WA. They call them WAPs. They're like, oh, these WAPs. Not the derogatory term for Italians. WAPs. No. Wet ass P word. I just Ben Shapiro to wet ass P word. Just say wet ass pussy. I love that song. That was the one good thing out of 2020. All right.
You brought up that song in our episode, Leo, and you brought it up in the last episode, and you brought it up in this. This is.
Are you in love with Cardi B? Is that
love? Love is not a strong enough word.
Oh. All right.
Oh.
Well, let's divert our affection towards Jonny Pickett for this episode. And
With this wise ass poetry.
Yeah. We're going to listen to the song John Rabe by Jonny Pickett. You guys have it up?
Oh, it's up, baby girl.
All right. All right, when I count down. 3, 2, 1.
John Rabe was a man inside the safety zone, all alone, far from home, saw the bone. Well, his flag overhead, Shanghai Lu, Jinling College, and
That's a tempo change that will make any music student blush. Super McCartney, like Sgt. Pepper's era McCartney based kind of lines on there.
Yeah,
Very Sgt. Pepper's like all together, like very theatrical, whimsical. It's got a fancy.
backyard. 350 were snoring, their hungry in bodies bare. Well, Nanjing fallen in December. John wrote letters to ask his cure for a little help. No answer. John won't go, he'll stay at home. He still knows there's ways to go. John won't go, he'll stay at home. He still knows there's ways to go.
Bravo.
I dig it. That was awesome.
Bravo.
That was great.
Off the top of my head, 3 artists. Here we go. Beirut,
Yes.
Sufjan Stevens,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a touchy subject, but we did mention QAnon earlier. Pom Pom era Ariel Pink haunted graffiti.
I'm not familiar.
Ariel Pink.
Yeah,
neither
I
am
can't
I.
say I am.
We'll talk about Ariel Pink maybe not on this podcast because this one's about Johnny, but for sure that outro with the ukulele-esque, banjo-esque, like just that instrumentation and the refrain of that won't go, he'll stay at home, he still knows there's way to go. Very Beirut. Zach
Oh, yeah.
Condon.
I got a very Animal Collective vibe.
Absolutely.
Got that.
That could be almost sung around like an Animal Collective song for sure.
Yeah.
Replace like 1960s modular synthesizers with actual instruments, which is basically what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like revert back to what we used to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, totally an Animal Collective song, 100%.
I definitely hear the Beirut though. Zach Condon.
Early Beirut, like Gulag Orchestra,
Flying Club Club.
Flying Cup
Club. There it is.
Cup Club. But very, very well done. And then the Sufjan-esque, the instrumentation of all the different, like the pizzicato of the violins and string instruments, the French horn. Is that a French horn in there?
No,
It was a
I think
trumpet,
it was a
wasn't it?
trumpet.
Muted trumpet.
I don't fucking know, dude.
No, it was trumpet.
I don't know.
It was two. I counted 9 tracks if you compile the drums and the vocals. 9 to 10. That was a cool song. I struggle with songs with lyrics, like trying to hear the words being said
Yes.
or being sung. Sometimes, like I have to listen to it a couple times, but this one was fairly easy to understand. Like that's why I have a hard time listening to Me Without You. Like if I don't know the lyrics, I have no idea what he's saying. But this was very clear. And just if I could go into a little bit about who this song is about. For people who don't know, it's about John Rabe, and John Rabe was. This is going to be the simplest explanation about who he was because of how much time we have. But
and Rabe, his last name R-A-B-A.
R-A-B-E.
B-E.
Yeah, he was German.
Just the Germans.
So he was a member of the Nazi Party during World War II.
I've never heard of them. Were they political?
A little bit, a little bit. But he was a businessman, and he worked in Africa and moved to China in the early 1900s. And so he became, that's where he lived for a very long time. So when he became a member of the Nazi Party as a German citizen in China, they had him working with the Japanese military during their occupation of Nanking or Nanjing. I see it spelled both ways.
And when you say Nazi party, you're talking about political party. You're not saying like a Nazi, like, hey, we're having a Nazi kickback this Friday in Nanjing, China.
I'm pretty sure anyone listening to the show will know that I mean the Nazi political party.
Got it.
Come on, Leo.
No, I'm clarifying for me.
Oh, okay. Well, he was like he was really dedicated to the Nazi cause. I think less anti-Semitism, more National Socialism type of it, more the political aspect of it. But either way,
all or nothing, dude.
I'm not here to.
You can't take.
Yeah, I'm not splitting hairs on.
You're gonna buy the barn, you get the cow too, and you get the anti-Semitism barn in the food.
But he was there during the Nanking massacre. Some people call it the
rape of Nanjing.
Yeah, and the rape of Nanjing was the Japanese military killing 50,000, 60,000 civilians just
in a matter of days, right?
In a matter of days. And John Rabe saw this, and he begged the Japanese party the Japanese military to stop using his credentials, but they delayed his requests. And so modern estimates now, I'm looking at the numbers right now. They guess it's about 300,000 people were killed during the rape of Nanjing.
Wow.
So goes to show, not your fluffy pop song lyrical material narrative that he's like this. That's some heavy. I love the juxtaposition of like just super fucking dense, sad, dark, melancholy lyrical narrative, and then like the music doesn't like match up with it, and that's awesome. That's my favorite. I love that.
Yeah. When he saw that the Japanese government wasn't doing anything, he wrote to Hitler, to the direct letter to Adolf Hitler.
We've heard of that guy.
To step in and do something. And Hitler ignored him. He didn't respond. So
he said
Rabe took it upon himself personally to open up his home and start hiding Chinese citizens from the Japanese military and trying to save hundreds of people. So
do you think the irony was lost on John Rabe? Like that the fact that he was doing that the same time that Corrie ten Boom was opening up her house in Holland to bring in Jews that were getting pretty much exterminated by the Nazi Party?
I wonder if he was aware of what was going on in Germany, like to the fullest extent. Germany was they weren't outwardly explicit on what they were doing during the war, if I recall correctly. I don't want to turn this whole thing into a conversation about the Holocaust because we
No,
don't have
absolutely
enough
not.
time.
But I think lyrically that it's a very intelligent use of, like, we're in a time specifically after January 6th where it all came to a head during the Capitol riots, and
Yeah.
where do people who we deem as evil or part of this, like, you know, and we're so polarized, and we're always pointing the fingers, but is the other side someone that we deem as like, oh, he's from the Nazi party, he can't have any redeeming qualities. Actually, this guy saved a ton of people from genocide.
He was the only one who was recording Japanese atrocities. The only one there. And he's responsible for saving somewhere between 200 to 250,000 Chinese civilian lives. 250,000 people he saved from these from the Japanese soldiers. And this is just a little thing what was going on. There were these two Japanese officers who were having a competition to see how many people they could behead during this attack. And that their competition was being published in the newspapers at Japan at home, and people were like taking bets on who would win, like until it was like really messed up. But yeah, he saved 250,000 people, up to 250,000 people, but still.
And that is not a dig at the Japanese people or culture.
No.
That is a dig
That's
at
just a
wartime
historical
humanity.
Mhm.
Period. Anytime that humanity is thrust into wartime, the most awful examples of humanity come out.
So when he was recording, do you know if like he was sending stuff back to?
He was putting
Other
it in
place?
his diary. He couldn't send anything
Oh.
back because they were just ignoring him. So the best he could do was write it down as best as he could and save as many lives as he could. And I wonder what he would have done if he had been in Germany during the Holocaust, if he would have taken steps to I don't know, taken steps to help the Jewish people in any way or any victims of
Yeah.
the Holocaust.
Well,
They
he was
tried him
thrust
for
in.
war crimes, but they let him go back because of his actions in China. And he died in. He eventually he worked hard to give up his Nazi credentials. He wasn't. He didn't. He's left the party after World War II and died in
Good move for him.
poverty. He didn't have any money when he died. And he
But
died
there's a
in
lot of people alive because of him.
Yeah.
Right.
He died in 1950. He had a stroke, and he died in Switzerland.
So,
But
Johnny, using probably a very difficult person, like a very complicated character to compose an entire, not just lyrically, but I feel like the composition, the arrangement, the chords, the melody, kind of has that. It's happy, it's whimsical, but at the same time, there's like this melancholy longing within the chord changes, the rhythm section, the tempo change from the beginning, and when it kicks into the like main melody of John Rabe, that kind of like a change of mind. But like the fact that you are able to take someone as complicated as this person and write something and humanize him, I mean, for all intents and purposes, like, he did a great thing. But he was also part of one of the most evil organizations of the 20th century.
you could argue
That's
human
art.
history. Yeah.
Human history, yeah. That's art, man. It's a very difficult thing to do, and it challenges one's like belief systems, and it shows that things are not black and white, that the human experience is nuanced, and just like the music is, you can be very subjective about the way you interpret it. I'm just giving you the facts, bro. I'm just going to tell you how it is. You can walk away with whatever you want to think about John Rabe, but well done. And thank you, Kurt, for giving us a little history on him, because that.
Sure. Anytime.
And
Adam,
John.
what did you think, man?
Oh man, I thought that this was a wonderful song. I paid attention to a lot more of the just kind of the instruments and what they were doing, and kind of the motifs that were going on.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. It's when he's telling the story in between like pauses and stuff like that, he has this really cool motif where it's falling down. It just is falling motif. Like I think the first one is like the guitar, and then one of the plucked violins, and then the second time around it's like drums and just a rhythm guitar, and it goes on and continues. And I thought that was really, really cool. Kept me interested the entire time.
The instrumentation and the way he sang the lyrics were they differed. He sang generally, I've noticed, very legato with the long drawn out John wa, ba, but everything in the background is going ba 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 ba. So you have that contrast in terms of how things are being played with the plucked violin, the plucked stringed instruments, and then the drums are very punchy and very poppy, but again the lyrics were drawn out and long, and I thought that was a really cool contrast between the two that kept the song interesting.
That's a cool point. Yeah, the
Yeah.
instrumentation and the vocals, like they're like the mechanisms of like whatever war times going on behind them, and you have this like pensive kind of like I'm thinking about the bigger scenario around me.
Yeah, and I think it goes really. I think that kind of difference in the styles where the vocals are long and the instrumentation is like short and plucky, like that kind of is relevant to John Rabe's story. Like on one side he is part of the Nazi party, but on the other side he saves 250,000 Chinese citizens. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
The contrast. Yeah. What did you think of Adam? What did you think of the mix?
Oh, it was a great mix. Everything was super balanced. And you know what? It was cool, like in the beginning of the song where he has like just his vocals playing.
Yeah.
And it's like this nice layer vocal. And then he has a lot of, I think it was like chorus and reverb or something like that. And it was really like big and bright and just catches your attention right off the bat. And that was something that just resonated. And then it goes into that like that Sergeant Peppery kind of style.
That's right. You guys brought up Paul McCartney. How did it sound like Paul McCartney-ish to you, Adam?
I want to say it was like the chords, the type of chords that he was using, and then also the pluckiness, that plucky style.
Yeah.
And probably, the instrumentation as well, like the trumpets, the guitars, the violins, that's all very Sergeant Peppery, especially in like the beginning scenes,
Yeah. Leo, was there like a specific instance in like Sergeant Pepper, the album that made you, or like the song that made you think about it though? That was Paul McCartney-esque?
Super over the top theatrical, but
Okay.
not necessarily always dealing with like an absurd like thematically. The bass line was what got me super McCartney-esque, especially Sergeant Pepper's Revolver era where he was into that real thumpy slide up, and kind of following the root notes of the chords and then embellishing on the changes on the 3/4 before it goes back into the 1. So following the root notes of the chord changes, and then like doodle hammer off and shit. I'm sorry, folks, for vocalizing.
Vocalize it away. Do it.
Bass, mouth bass. They called me mouth bass in high school, baby.
That sultry mouth bass you got.
I like, Leo, you were mentioning like how using the music to showcase the difference between good and evil a little bit. He does do that musically. He does modulate between major and minor. I think it was every verse the chorus would end on major and then he'd go to the minor relative or parallel key, I guess, A major to A minor or something.
Yeah, parallel.
But he went down as a tonal shift into, in Western music we associate minor keys with sad or melancholy or angry or very negative emotions. But yeah, that shift really it was cool. It's like a build up every time. You start down here in the mood and then you move up here and then you go right back down again. So That repetition was really
that dichotomy of like, good versus evil within just one person too. And the narrative, like lyrically, he's singing to or of about John Rabe. He's not embodying and personifying him. Kind of like John Wayne Gacy Jr. By Sufjan Stevens.
Yeah.
On
From Illinois.
Come on, feel it,
Illinois.
Talking about a very tormented. There's a lot more redeeming qualities of John Rabe, but that kind of like narrative of like, I'm talking about this person and I'm gonna chronicle his life and put it all out there, and then kind of like asking him a rhetorical question, because John Rabe's never, because the ending is what got me. The ending refrain that won't go, he'll stay at home. He still knows there's ways to go. There's so many different ways you can unpack that, because now that you said a little bit about his history, Adam, what do you feel like those ending refrain lyrics are alluding to, or what did you get from that?
Yeah, so unfortunately I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics as much as I did like the overall sound, but as far as the ending was going, it was really interesting to me that there was such a difference in the beginning from the ending, where the beginning started with all these vocals and only vocals, and then at the end he completely takes away the drums, and then you have like almost this it's just instrumentation of all the stringed instruments and the horns, and it just kind of ends off kind of, I don't know, kind of peacefully.
Advantage of the space he created.
Yeah, it almost widens it and makes it feel more, I want to say spiritual, but airy, kind of bigger, like there was more to life than just all this chaos, I guess.
We've talked about that before. The lack of something, you don't realize it's not there until you don't realize something's not there until it's added, or you don't realize like how much you like it until it's taken away. And that reductive approach of composing. By the way, Adam, when I asked you that question, I totally know what it feels like to be like a junior high teacher that like asks a kid like, what is Avogadro's number, Adam? I don't fucking know, dog.
Like, oh, Adam wasn't studying.
Well, no, Adam's expertise is on the mix, is on the recording process. He's a technical beast.
He is. He really is. Super is. All of our best sounding episodes are Adam. And all of the messy sounding ones, that's me. So that's coming out clean right there. That's all the good.
I love it when it comes out clean. The ghost wipe. Won't go. Yeah, dude. Really well done, Johnny.
Yeah, and speaking of clean mix, I want to know who did it.
Yeah.
Let's look that up.
Did he do it himself, or did he?
So Johnny does record a lot of his stuff. He does a lot of stuff on tape. I know that.
Really?
And that's super impressive.
Expensive. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no. Johnny. Okay. These are the instruments that Johnny played on John Rabe. Vocals, banjola. Okay. So I was like, is that a ukulele? A banjola. It sounds like a Nintendo 64 video game. Banjola Kazooie. Banjo. So there's a banjola and a banjo. A sheng. A traditional instrument, Chinese instrument. He also, so back to what we were getting at, he also mixed and mastered John Rabe. So I would say a triple threat there. Composer, singer, he's got it all. He can dance. You're going to be a Broadway star.
And he releases it, and he has someone doing the artwork for it. Like
artwork by Oscar Pearson. Yeah.
Really cool artwork. Be sure to check it out.
Oh, just a phenomenal song.
It's really cool.
So would John Rabe be canceled in 2021? like he was famous. Like this is how I see John Rabe in 2021. Oh, he saved 150,000 people from 250,000 people. My bad. That is a big difference. I'm being completely forthright and genuine. That is a big difference. He saved 250,000 people, but it just came out that he was a Nazi. Canceled? Twitter would cancel him.
He would.
I think.
I think he would.
Kimmy Schmidt just got canceled.
because she was involved. Yeah, that's so. I was
What'd
thinking
she
about
do?
that too. She was a
Yeah.
part of.
The veiled prophet. The ball of the veiled prophet. That just sounds fucking creepy.
It was a beauty pageant that was started in the 1800s by an ex-Confederate soldier and his wife, and they would exclude people of color all across the board, and they were
Mhm.
picketed and protested in the 60s. In the 70s, they allowed people of color to join the beauty pageant, and but people are calling her the KKK queen. Yeah, she was in the pageant in 1999. And so I'm like, I think the statute of limitations ended
passed.
there. Like,
But not in the court of public opinion, my man.
well, so here's the thing too.
Ba-da-bum-bum.
So we're musicians.
Mm.
Okay. We're all three of us are signed to a PRO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who are you signed to, Adam?
BMI right now.
Okay. Leo, who are you signed to?
Same. My performance rights organization is BMI
Your
as
BMI.
well. Mm-hmm.
I'm ASCAP. So
This is war.
so do you guys know ASCAP's history?
Is
No.
racist? Because I was gonna mention that. I was gonna say if you go back far enough, all the institutions that are considered like traditional American or traditional whatever history, it's all chaos. It's all
But
racist.
see,
It's
yeah,
all
but that's what I
made in
mean.
blood.
That's what I mean. Like ASCAP has a history of it wouldn't accept black artists back in the day, and that's how BMI was founded, the performance rights organization that would allow black musicians to sign
Yeah,
up.
Kurt. That's why Adam and I are on BMI, and you're on
God,
ASCAP.
shut up! No, stop it.
Totally kidding. I did not know that. I did not
Yeah.
know that
I
little
also
snippet
knew
of
that.
history.
They were founded in 1914. It was a musician who he heard his music being played in a bar, and he was mad that he wasn't getting paid. He's like, I wrote all these songs, like why? And I live in poverty. What the hell? And so he worked to create these performance rights organizations.
Dude.
They
The
really
response of the bartender as he's cleaning the glass. That's because you're brown, Jimmy. God damn it.
But yeah,
We suck so much.
BMI was formed to allow those artists to come around and to the artists of color. And BMI was founded in 1939 in response to ASCAP. So there's a racist history, but like, are we going to stop using ASCAP because of their, objectively racist past?
And that's the question. And that's what the whole full circle with John Rabe, full circle with Kimmy Schmidt, and we've talked about this many times before on other episodes of this podcast of, I'm able to, I hate to use this term because it has like evangelical right-wing Christian like connotations to it, but like I can separate the art from the artist. I can separate the sin from the sinner. That kind of deal. But you should be able to, like, you could appreciate now if Jeffrey Epstein released a greatest hit album, I
think it depends on the sins of the artist. I really do.
Yeah, and then you get into subjectivity, right?
Yeah, well, that's the point, and then that's the thing. Like,
does the art,
subjective.
does the innate value, does the art? And I would look at it this way: does the art create more value than the sins created harm?
Again, it's subjective.
And that's subjective, exactly. And a lot of people I'm totally fine with. I think it's just education, man. We're all works in progress. It's one of those arguments.
Save this for a different episode.
Well, Johnny was onto something here, and I think the intent was there when he wrote this song. He picked a very conflicted, complicated person in history who did an amazing thing, and a lot of generations and millions of people are alive because of him. But he was also a Nazi. Like that's brilliant. That's brilliant subject matter to write about, because look at us, a bunch of like dudes talking about it on a podcast.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I just think it's such a deep thing to dive into. But yeah, I mean, John Rabe did an objectively heroic thing, and he saved a lot of people. You're right, and I think for that alone, we should remember him as part of the most significant part of his
I agree.
legacy. And he wasn't convicted of any war crimes. He was associated with it as a businessman. He lived in China the entire time. I don't know how much he knew about what was going on in Europe at the time. And I'd like to think if he had known everything that was happening during the time, he would have left, considering his actions in China. Because remember, if you're so devoted to the Nazi cause, you're devoted to everything. You let
Every part of it
go.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so you don't blink twice at 250,000 people being killed by Japanese soldiers. If you're Hitler, which he did, Hitler didn't care. I guarantee you he knew what was going on.
Absolutely.
And
There's
John
another
Rabe did what Hitler wouldn't do.
There's another great part about Jonny Pickett's choice of using John Rabe. It's like, I just, not only was it a beautiful piece of art, but I learned something today.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear more of his stuff. I look forward to his releases.
We gotta ask him. Okay, so the Made in China series is basically the series of singles that he's released. He did one during COVID lockdown about a year ago, and this is the last single in the Made in China series. And they're all, I want to call it a concept album, but they're based. I mean, I guess the concept is doing like portrait sketches, like sonic portrait sketches of individuals and writing about them in composing. But yeah, man, Jonny, kudos. Great work.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you so much, Leo. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming on. Check out Jonny Pickett's album, the Made in China series. We'll have a link
in
to it.
China series. That is correct.
We'll have the link to it on the description. This was just one song.